Ladies, let me tell y'all something. You ever been with a man, and I mean you loved this man. You gave him your heart, your time, your energy. Shoot, you probably even cooked for him when you didn't feel like it. You were loyal, solid, real, you did right by him. And then he went and broke your trust. Now I don't know who needs to hear this today, but if he broke your trust, you ain't gotta break down, break. His ego, when someone breaks your trust, especially someone you loved and believed in, it cuts deep. It's not just about the lie or the betrayal. It's about the shift. That moment when your world, your plans, and your belief in someone suddenly collapse. That pain, it's real. It shakes your core, makes you question your worth, your judgment, and everything you gave. But here's the truth. That pain isn't the end of you. It's the beginning of something powerful. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that was your wake-up call, not your downfall. See, we live in a world that tells you to suppress pain, to hide it, to act like it didn't happen. But pain is a teacher. It's a spotlight that shows you where your boundaries were too low, where your standards were compromised, and where you were loving someone harder than they deserved. Pain doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, it means you cared, you showed up, you tried. And there's no shame in that, but now it's time to turn that pain into power. Don't let heartbreak be where your story ends. Let it be the moment where the real you is born. Because let's be honest, the version of you that tolerated lies, settled for excuses, or gave chance after chance, that version needed to evolve. And this moment, as painful as it is the spark that can light your transformation. There's a fire that gets lit in a woman when she finally realizes she deserved better all along. It's quiet at first. Maybe it looks like deleting the messages, blocking the number, canceling the plans you were holding onto out of habit or hope. But that's just the beginning. Soon you start remembering who you were before they broke you. Before you were carrying someone else's baggage, fixing someone else's wounds, making yourself smaller so they could feel big. And once you begin to heal, maybe there is nothing more unstoppable than a woman who's been hurt and decides to use that pain to fuel her rise. You start walking different, talking different, your energy shifts. You're no longer begging for someone to value you. You're choosing yourself every single day. And the moment you do that, the game changes. Let me tell you something. The best revenge isn't revenge. It's resurrection. It's taking that pain and building something with it. You rise from that betrayal with more self-respect, more purpose, more clarity than ever before. You turn that broken trust into a blueprint for your next level. You learn how to guard your peace, protect your energy, and never again hand over your worth to someone who hasn't earned it. And don't get it twisted. Your healing isn't about making him regret what he did. That's just a bonus. Your healing is about remembering who you are. It's about standing in the mirror one day, looking yourself dead in the eyes and saying, "He didn't break me, he woke me up." You're not starting over from scratch. You're starting from experience. With wisdom in your heart, strength in your soul, and fire in your eyes. So yes, it hurts. But that pain, it's not your prison. It's your platform. And from this moment on, you don't shrink. You rise. Because the woman you're becoming on the other side of this, she's a force, and she's just getting started. When someone shatters your trust, the natural instinct is to break down. You feel like the wind's been knocked out of you. You're sitting there thinking about everything, every memory, every conversation, every promise that now feels like a lie. Your mind runs in circles, trying to make sense of something that just doesn't make sense. It's a dark place, and no one can blame you for landing there. But here's the part that matters most. You don't have to stay there. Breaking down is easy. That's what they expect. That's what they're used to, people crumbling when things go wrong. crying, chasing, begging for closure, but you're different. You're not about to break down. You're about to break through. See, real power isn't in falling apart, it's in standing tall when everything in you wants to drop. You don't need to prove your pain to anyone. You don't have to scream to show you've been hurt. Sometimes the loudest message you can send is the quiet decision to rise. When you take all that energy, the frustration, the betrayal, the sadness, and you channel it into you, that's when the shift happens. That's when you go from victim to visionary. Instead of texting him one more time, you hit the gym. Instead of scrolling through his feed, you start reading that book, taking that course, working on that side hustle. That's what I mean when I say break through. You move forward so hard, the past has to run to keep up with you. People don't change when they're comfortable. They change when they're forced to. And heartbreak, that's pressure. That's discomfort at the deepest level. But pressure makes diamonds. Discomfort makes warriors. And if you let it, this moment right here, this heartbreak, this betrayal, it'll become your turning point. You gotta make a choice. Do you let what happened define you, or do you use it to refine you? Because one leads to bitterness, and the other leads to breakthrough. You're not weak for feeling broken, but you're powerful when you choose to rebuild. Start small. Maybe it's waking up a little earlier. Making a promise to yourself and keeping it. Taking yourself out instead of waiting for someone else to show you love. You pour into you little by little, day by day, and one day you'll look up and realize you didn't just get over it, you grew through it. Let them wonder how you bounced back. Let them ask how you're glowing, how you're laughing again, how you're winning in silence. The truth is, you made a decision. You chose you. And choosing yourself after someone chose to disrespect you, that's not selfish, that's survival. You see, the most powerful version of you doesn't come from comfort. It comes from rebirth, and rebirth always follows a breakdown. But you don't have to stay broken. You can take the shattered pieces and build something stronger, wiser, more beautiful than ever before. So no, you don't break down, you break through. You break habits that no longer serve you. You break cycles of begging for love that should have been freely given. You break ties with the idea that you're not enough, because you are. You break through into your healing, into your power, into your next. Because sis, this pain, it's not the end of your story. It's the start of your elevation. And you're about to show the world what rising from the ashes really looks like. Sometimes silence is louder than anything you could ever say. When someone breaks your trust, the first urge is to speak up, to call them out, expose them, let the world know what they did. That urge is strong. You want to make them feel the way they made you feel. You want to make sure they know you know, but here's the thing, not everything deserves a reaction. Not every betrayal needs a response, because the most powerful move you can make is no move at all. Silence is strength, it's self-control, it's emotional intelligence on full display. When you go quiet, when you don't feed the drama, when you don't send the long paragraphs or air things out on social media, that's when you really win. Because what that silence says is, I'm not giving this any more of my energy. And trust me, that will shake them more than anything you could ever say with your mouth. See, the person who hurt you expects a reaction. They expect you to be mad, to cry, to beg, to go back and forth. They thrive off the power they feel in knowing they got to you. But when you go quiet, when you disappear from the drama and start glowing in peace, that's when they realize they lost access to something real. Your silence speaks one truth louder than any words. You no longer care enough to entertain them. And let's be real, arguing, venting, explaining yourself over and over again. That drains you. It puts your healing on hold, because the more you talk about what happened, the more you relive it. Silence, on the other hand, is peace. It's freedom. It's choosing yourself. It's turning down the volume on the chaos and turning up the volume on your growth. You want to know how to make someone regret hurting you? Don't post about it. Don't call their phone at 2 a.m. Don't show up trying to get closure. Just vanish from their world and start building your own. Let them see you shining, moving differently, smiling again, without them. Let them wonder why you're not reacting, why you're not chasing, why you're not pressed. That mystery will eat at them far more than your words ever could. And here's the real beauty of silence. It gives you space to listen to yourself, to your needs, to your healing. You stop pouring into the person who broke you and start pouring into the woman you're becoming. That's when the shift happens. That's when the glow-up begins. That's when your silence becomes sacred. There's a quote that says, "Never waste your words on people who deserve your silence." And it's true. Not everyone is worth an explanation. Not everyone deserves to hear how they hurt you. Because if they cared, they wouldn't have done it. And if they were capable of understanding, you wouldn't have to explain it. So you walk away quietly, confidently, powerfully. You don't chase, you don't compete, you don't explain. You simply evolve, and your growth, your peace, your comeback, that becomes the loudest message of all. Let them talk, let them wonder, let them spin their version of the story. You just keep building, keep healing, keep rising, because the woman who knows her worth doesn't need to shout. Her silence says it all. And when they finally realize what they lost, it'll be too late, because by then you'll be too far gone, too focused, too whole, too unbothered. That's the power of silence. It speaks volumes, but only to those who once took your voice for granted. When your trust is broken, there's a moment, maybe not right away, maybe after the tears, the confusion, the heartbreak, where something clicks. You realize you've been pouring into someone who couldn't even hold a cup. And in that moment, a choice opens up in front of you. You can either stay stuck in the pain, or you can take every ounce of that pain and use it as fuel to level up. Because one thing's for sure, sitting in sorrow doesn't heal you. Movement does, progress does, power does. That's when the real glow-up begins. And no, I'm not talking about a little revenge dress or a cute Instagram post with a cryptic caption. I'm talking about a life shift. I'm talking about building a version of yourself that not only gets back up, but becomes completely untouchable. You level up like it's a mission, because it is. It's the mission of reclaiming your worth, your power, and your future. You start with the basics, get in the gym, not just to look good, but to feel good. Every drop of sweat is a reminder you're working on you now. You're investing in the only person who's been with you through it all yourself. And with every workout, every rep, every early morning, you're not just getting stronger physically, you're reminding yourself that you can push through anything. Then you handle your business, your money, your goals, your dreams. You stop waiting for someone to validate your worth. You stop chasing people and start chasing purpose. You build that side hustle. You start saving. You study. You grow. Because nothing breaks an ego like watching the person they underestimated become unrecognizable in success. And this glow up, it's not just surface level. This is internal. You begin to protect your peace. You start setting boundaries where you used to give out chances. You prioritize your mental health, your spiritual balance, your emotional clarity. You stop giving your energy to people who only show up to take. You surround yourself with people who feed your soul, not just your ego. The more you grow, the more you realize you never needed closure. You needed direction. And that direction is forward. You're not proving anything to anyone else. You're showing yourself that you are capable of rebuilding, of thriving, of becoming more than you ever thought possible, even after the pain. See, what he thought would break you actually built you. What he thought would leave you shattered only sharpened your focus. That betrayal, that was your wake-up call. And now you don't just walk different. You move different. You don't settle. You don't shrink. You take up space because you finally understand your value. And here's the part that always gets them. When they come back. And trust me, they always try to come back. They won't recognize you. Because you won't be the same woman they left. You'll be stronger, smarter, happier, healed, and the door that used to be wide open, it'll be locked, bolted, and blessed. That's what leveling up is about. It's about becoming the woman who no longer needs to be chosen, because she chooses herself every single time. You glow up not to make them jealous, not to make them regret, but because you deserve the life they never had the vision to give you. So take the pain, take the disrespect, take every tear, every lie, every broken promise, and build something phenomenal with it, because nothing hits harder than the glow-up of a woman who finally realized she was the prize all along. A man's ego is a delicate thing. It may look tough on the outside, loud, confident, full of swagger, but underneath all that, it's often built on a foundation of control, validation, and being needed. When a man knows he has your heart, your time, and your loyalty, it feeds his ego. It makes him feel powerful. But when he breaks your trust and expects you to stay, expects you to cry, to chase, to forgive too quickly, that's not about love. That's about control. And when you take that control back, when you stop feeding that ego, that's when the real shift happens. Taking away that power doesn't require screaming matches or dramatic exits. You don't have to hit him with the "you'll regret this" speech or a long list of all the things he did wrong. What breaks his ego isn't your words. It's your absence, your indifference, your peace. What really gets to a man who's used to holding power over you is when you stop showing up in the ways you used to. When you stop calling, stop explaining, stop fighting for what he so casually threw away. You want to take his ego down a notch. Here's how you do it. You level up in silence. You take all that love you gave him and turn it inward. You make yourself your number one priority. You stop being the woman who's always available, always understanding, always forgiving. You become the woman who respects herself too much to stay where she's not valued. And the kicker, you don't even have to announce it. You just move differently. You glow differently. You speak less and attract more. You no longer give energy to proving your worth because you know the right people will see it without needing to be convinced. The thing about ego is it feeds off of attention. It feeds off of knowing you're still affected, still hurt, still emotionally tied. The moment you detach, the moment you shift the focus back to yourself, that ego starts to crack. And when he reaches out expecting the same you, the one who used to drop everything for him, and instead finds a woman who's completely at peace without him, that hits deeper than anything you could ever say. Because now you're not playing the game. You left the game entirely. You're building, growing, healing. You're surrounding yourself with peace, with purpose, with people who pour into you the way you used to pour into him. And that's a reflection he won't be able to avoid, especially when he sees it's all happening without him. Let's be clear, this isn't about revenge. It's not about playing games. It's about reclaiming your power and choosing yourself over and over again. It's about recognizing that your worth isn't defined by how much pain you can endure in a relationship. It's defined by how quickly you walk away from anything that dishonors you. A broken ego doesn't come from confrontation. It comes from elevation. When you stop engaging and start evolving, that's when he starts to feel it. That's when he questions what he lost. That's when he finally understands that breaking your trust didn't just cost him your love. It cost him access to a woman who was willing to go all in. So if you really want to break his ego, don't raise your voice, raise your standards. Don't lower yourself to prove a point. Raise your life so high that he has no choice but to watch from a distance. And believe this, nothing bruises the ego of a man more than watching the woman he once had built a life so full, so beautiful, so untouchable, that he's no longer even a thought in it. There is nothing more powerful, more poetic, and more humbling to a man's ego than having to watch you win without him, not hearing about it, not reading a post about it, but seeing you thriving in real time, living, glowing, rising, all while he stands on the sidelines. That right there, that's the ego break. That's the one thing his pride can't ignore. Because let's keep it real. When he broke your trust, he probably thought you'd spiral. Maybe he assumed you'd fall apart, lose yourself in the grief, beg for his attention, or stay stuck in that same place emotionally, waiting for him to come back. But you didn't. Instead, you used the pain as a launch pad. You turned the betrayal into motivation. You took every piece of that broken trust and built a version of yourself that is better, wiser, and stronger than ever. That's what hits different. When you don't just get over it, you grow through it. You become someone so focused on healing, purpose, and progress that the version of you who cried over him doesn't even exist anymore. And when he finally comes back around, trying to reconnect, throwing out casual hey, just checking in, texts or liking your posts from the shadows, you won't even blink, because the healed version of you isn't waiting for closure. She is the closure. What he didn't expect was that you'd flip the pain into peace. That instead of staying stuck, you'd start evolving. That instead of trying to make him see your worth, you'd walk like you already know it. And there's nothing more attractive or more painful to watch than someone flourishing without you. And let's talk about the glow. That glow that comes from peace, not makeup. That glow that can't be faked because it radiates from self, love, boundaries, growth, and alignment. It's the glow that says, I don't need anyone to complete me. I completed myself. That's the kind of energy no ego can handle, because it's not about spite, it's not about revenge, it's about evolution. You don't have to post about your progress, you don't have to brag, just live. Live in a way that honors who you are and who you're becoming. Let him sit with the weight of knowing he once had access to a woman who would have given him the world, and he fumbled it. Let him watch you become the best version of yourself, not to prove anything, but because you finally realized you were the prize all along. And the real power, it's not in making him jealous. It's in no longer needing anything from him, not his validation, not his apology, not his presence. Because when you start winning from within, when your peace becomes your priority, you attract better, you accept less, and you rise higher. One day he's going to see you laughing in pictures, traveling, building, glowing, smiling like you never even knew him. And he'll know deep down, even if he never says it out loud, he lost a real one, not because you told him, not because you tried to make him see it, but because your life became undeniable proof of what he let go. So keep building, keep rising, keep evolving. Let your progress be your punctuation. Let your success be your sentence. Because when the dust settles and the silence echoes louder than any conversation you could have had, the truth will be clear. You didn't just survive, you leveled all the way up. And nothing bruises the ego more than realizing the woman he thought would fall apart became the woman he can never reach again.